go. Let's get into this. All right, man. We got to put on our music for games. Let's go. All right, y'all. We got our first one, and you know what? This has been a good week for games. We didn't get a chance to get up on it. This past weekend, we had round 4 of the Women's Six Nations, man. England absolutely slaughtered. I don't even know what to call it, dominated. It was a slaughtering. It was an absolute catastrophe. This was damn near, you know, not dealing myself again, man. England defeated Ireland 58-10. Demolishment, man. Very hard. I feel for Ireland. You know what? At least in a situation like this, there's never a question of could you win or what could you have done different. You literally were completely outmatched, overproduced, and honestly, right now we're looking at England being probably the best women's team in Europe, depending on what happens this weekend. We'll get to that. We had Italy fall to Scotland 17-10, and then we had France absolutely holding down and punching Wales 40-0. Just why are you hitting yourself? Straight bullying Wales. Like, poor Wales, man. Wales is just out here trying to be able to live. They're trying to just get themselves back, looking at days of glory past, and they're just absolutely the punching bag. They're that nerd from the 80s bully that gets dropped inside the locker, and you just don't feel for them, but there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Everybody's just bullied to them. And then, you know, it gets wild. We're sticking to the 80s, not the 90s. Looking at the game that we got coming up for this upcoming weekend, Women's Six Nations. Wales is going to be taking on Italy. This is the final round. Wales versus Italy. Italy's got one win on the season. Honestly, Wales is not great. They're not doing it. So I look for Italy to be able to win this one. I think they're going to win this one big by 28-0 in this one. I don't know if Wales has anything left inside them to do anything. Next, Ireland is going to be taking on Scotland to be able to kind of see if they can get themselves back. Nice little country rivalry going on. Even though Ireland absolutely got mollywopped, and even though Scotland technically has more wins under their belt, I still think Scotland is going to win. I don't know where I was going to go with this. But Ireland 15 is just, for women, is not as forward as the women's sevens and obviously men's 15s and then sevens. Scotland, I think, is just a better place. This is a more powerful team. I think they're going to actually do a lot more. So if Scotland can win this one, I think it's going to be close one because I think this is a good rivalry. I think this is going to be a 22-17 match of Scotland over Ireland. But the game that is truly the game of the week, and I think this is actually the game of the week in all rugby right now, is going to be England taking on France. All right. I think with this game, I think this is one that it is going to determine literally where the direction of their respective programs go. More so for England than it is for France. England has undoubtedly shown that they are by far the most dominant team. And some would put it as number 1 and 2, respectively, for their in the world, the women's rugby. I think England, it might be England and New Zealand, especially in 15s, and then everybody else kind of manipulates underneath that. But this France team has been formidable, and this France team is incredibly powerful. And this France team has still done a lot of work. They've been able to wipe through their competition as much as anybody else. They're only a point behind. Now, mind you, like I said, England has absolutely dominated. Emily Scarrett returned back last week. And if you don't know Emily Scarrett was a beast in 17, she was a beast in 15, she took some time off, and then it looks like she's coming back. This is like a Russell return kind of thing. Like, if you say, like, this is a legit one. I do think that this is going to be a very, very close game. I don't think England is going to have as much of a pushover as they've had for the other 4, basically, rounds that they've been into. I look at England to really take this one down. But I do think, like I said, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be the hardest-hitting game probably in women's rugby. But look at England eke this one out. 35-33. I think it's going to be a last-minute try to be able to do 35-33. England taking the win on this one. I look, France is gonna, whatever the spread is gonna be, I think France will cover it. But I do think England wins and ends up winning the women's Six Nations and get the whole streak in it. All right, next up we got MLR scores, y'all. MLR scores. Seattle Seawolves defeated New England 29-21. Miami Sharks absolutely upset and dominated New Orleans on the road, 42-27, an absolutely disturbing loss. And again, New Orleans started off so hot, and I don't know what's going on with their faltering, but they got to get themselves back. It's been a 3-game losing streak. This is not something that should be happening, but especially the Miami Sharks, who I do not think is a good team. I think they're a talented team. I think they're getting their stuff together. There's no reason to think they've lost. So to be winning, especially dominating like that. The Houston SaberCats defeated Old Glory 38-17. Not the biggest surprise in the world. Chicago Hounds destroyed LA 54-31. Again, a game expected. Chicago has been a team that has been slowly increasing, slowly building up, slowly getting their rhythm together, and they've always been a talented team. They're a very talented team to begin with, but again, the culture of winning hadn't been that. But right now, Chicago is sitting number 2 in the E, and I got to give them credit. Give credit where credit is due. And then lastly, Utah Warriors in a huge comeback defeat San Diego 33-32. San Diego was definitely the favorite. Utah Warriors showing what it means on the road to be an absolute warrior. So give them the credit where credit is absolutely due for them to be able to slide through. All right, this week we got a couple more games. Utah Warriors are going to be protecting their house versus Old Glory. Look, Old Glory did not really do well on this. Old Glory has been slipping. Ever since they beat the Free Jacks, it feels like they peaked out at that game, and they just have not been back in form since. I don't see Old Glory traveling all the way to Utah to be able to give a really great competition. I think Utah's going to win this one easily, 35-15. I don't know what's going on with Old Glory. They got to get their stuff straight. New Orleans Gold take on the Anthem. Look, New Orleans Gold scores less than 50 points. I think it's really good. Anthem are just, right now, they're the worst team in club rugby in the world. Worst team in club rugby, professional club rugby in the world. They're a starting team, they're a young team, they're an inexperienced team. Just you can't expect. But the key is winning by scoring at least 50 points on them. That is. And you got to keep them under 30. That's a successful campaign in this. It's not going to mean that New Orleans is better, but you got to get yourself back in rhythm. Miami gets his come back home against the Dallas Dazzles. Big win by Miami last week against Nola Gold. But I think the Dallas Dazzles are a fighting team. They're not going to let the same mistakes happen. A lot of good confidence come out of that Miami Sharks game last week, but I don't think they're still ready for it. I think Dallas is going to come. They're coming off a bye week, come through and show out, winning this one 24-10 against the Miami Sharks. I look at we got San Diego. We got San Diego taking on Houston SaberCats on the road. Houston SaberCats have been absolutely killing it. Perfect. Number one, I think that they're the dark horse. I think that they're the favorites to win the championship this year. Obviously, they're going to have to rectify themselves. The fact that over the last 2-3 years, SaberCats have been able to find their rhythm and grow and get better and become more dominant and put them together. This is a championship team, the main team. San Diego obviously lost the close one against Utah, but they really clobbered up the first half. I think San Diego's going to lose this one. Houston SaberCats are just too strong, too dominant, and especially at home, In Houston, nah, man. Houston's about to take this one. In late April, beginning of May, man, Houston's about to take this one. I think this is going to be a dominating win. 42-24, Houston SaberCats over San Diego Leafs. And then lastly, we got RFC Los Angeles at home against New England Free Jacks. Obviously, Los Angeles lost a big one against Chicago last week. New England lost an important one against Seattle last week. But I do think that when it all comes down to it, even though Los Angeles is at home, they're continuing to not be a good team. They're still trying to find their way. The culture hasn't been set. It takes a minute to get there, even if you have all the talent in the world. New England has a lot to prove, and especially as defending champion, especially losing already on against the Seattle team, they got to come back on this one. I think New England wins this game 25-5 against Los Angeles. Really trying to rectify the fact that they jacked up the Seattle game. Get their issue together. All right. We look at Premiership Rugby. Just go down to scores. Saracens defeated Gloucester 46-24. Northampton Chiefs defeated Leicester Tigers 40-17. Exeter Chiefs defeated Bath Exeter Chiefs lost to Bath 26-14. As Sales Sharks defeated the Harlequins 37-31. And the Bristol Bears absolutely mutilated, annihilated, and slightly genocidically destroyed the Newcastle Falcons 85-14, even though it's been 88-14, but I guess the official score was 85-14, give or take. Absolutely disgusting. But that being said, nothing too surprising in this. This was basically where it was supposed to go anyways. This week, we got games Bath versus Saracens. Bath are getting Finn Russell back, but I do think Saracens end up winning this one. I think Saracens are picking up their speed over Bath. The Harlequins versus Northampton. Again, Harlequins lost one. Northampton is just a top team. Northampton can take this one. I don't even care about the score of that one. It'll be a blowout. Gloucester versus Exeter. Both kind of suck, to say the least. They both kind of suck. So when it comes down to it, I do feel like probably the Chiefs will end up taking this one. I think they're just slightly better than Gloucester. Even though the standings say otherwise, I think they're slightly better than Gloucester. Look at Exeter to win this one on the road. Leicester versus Bristol. Bristol Bears get a big win from last week. That can be a game that can actually really mess you up because it makes you believe you're better than you really are. Even though Bristol Bears are fourth in standing, Leicester is struggling, but they are not one to slip, especially after losing last week. I look for the Bristol Bears to still eke this one out very, 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 very difficultly in the second half. Look for Bristol Bears to win this one 35. Look at Leicester at 35-25. I think Bristol eats this one out. And then lastly, Newcastle versus Sale. Newcastle sucks. I mean, Newcastle is horrific. Oh, it's horrific this year. All right. Anthem is the worst team. And I think the Tetsu Liners might be the second worst team, but I believe that probably the Newcastle Falcons might be the maybe fourth worst team. I actually think that there's one more MLR team that is actually much worse. But I think the Newcastle Falcons might be the fourth worst team in the world. In professional rugby. And I'd put third worst probably is, I guess, right now, Los Angeles. Probably Los Angeles. But, no. Newcastle, no. It was the Western Force until this past weekend, which is where we get to next in Super Rugby Pacifica. The Fijian Drua lost to the Hurricanes 38-15. Nothing surprising about that. Highlanders dropped one to the Reds 31-0. Again, a big loss, but again, the Reds really are a better team. Highlanders are really flopping around on this one. The Blues absolutely annihilate the Brumbies 46-7, kind of rectifying what was a stupid loss for them. Not this past week, but the week before. Not the week before. The week before against the. The Blues had the loss. The Blues have a loss on those. Yeah, the Blues lost to the Crusaders. That was. I feel like that rectified the Crusaders. And then Western Force. Well, it's not an upset. The Crusaders are horrific. Defeat the Crusaders 37-15, which I honestly, that makes me laugh. Crusaders are so good. That history of that team has so much winning. That they were losing that bad is wild. All right. And I don't know if I said the Blues, Brumbies, 46-7 against the Blues. All right. This week, we got Crusaders going up against the Rebels. Crusaders are going to lose. Crusaders are terrible. I don't know what's going on with them. It's almost like they're getting the New England Patriots situation where everybody left and now 20 years of dominance is about to come to the head. Look at the Rebels win this one. I don't have a score for this. Chiefs go up against the Waratahs. Chiefs are going to end up winning this one. I think this will be a close one, 17-10. I'll give the Rebels Crusaders one, 35-7. Rebels over Crusaders. 17-10 Chiefs over Waratahs. Seeing Drua take on the Moana Pacifica. Drua at home, except against the top team, which is the Hurricanes, are absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant. Look for the Drua to absolutely dominate this game. 46-32, and that Moana Pacifica team will get to 32, but it'll be that, what do they call it? Dead ball scores. Like, you not anything game changing, but good enough for a rivalry. Moana Hurricanes take on the Brumbies. I will say it again. Obviously, the Hurricanes are the best team. Brumbies are coming off the loss of the Hurricanes in this one. Highlanders versus the Western Force. Again, shocking that the Force beat the Crusaders just by tradition and history. But Highlanders are pretty bad. And you know what? I think the Western Force are going to have enough of a confidence boost from beating such a bully to them for so many years. I think this will be a close one. I'll put this not 10-5, too close, but probably 20-17. Western Force over the Highlanders. And then lastly, we got the Blues versus the Reds. Two great teams doing their thing. But the Blues are going to end up winning this one. I think this would be a 35-20 game. Blues over the Reds.
Buckwheat is changing lives. My name is GiftTime. I'm here with Health Enhanced Foods, and I want to tell you about one of my favorite products on our shelves, buckwheat baking mix. Buckwheat is a seed that is incredibly nutrient and protein dense. But what makes it even more important, that buckwheat baking mix is absolutely gluten-free. A lot of times whenever people have buckwheat mixes, they actually even hold wheat inside of it. So you know it's not fully gluten. And if you're a person that is celiac or diabetic, or you're just really trying to be health conscious, it's not something that you want to have to worry about. What makes our buckwheat baking mix even more important is that it is versatile. You can use it for pancakes, you can use it for waffles, you can use it for making loaves of bread, you can make it for cupcakes. But what helps even more is that it is allergen-free, it is nut-free, it is dairy-free, that there is no additional additives in it. There's no leavening there, so that if you want to be able to raise your bread, you can put in the baking powder yourself and get it fluffy. If you don't, you absolutely do not have to. You get the bread that you love without the cost to your health. You can absolutely find buckwheat baking mix at healthenhancedfoods.com. Absolutely check it out. Get your nostalgia back. Get back to eating and loving the way that you are, and absolutely get back to the energy that you know that you can get without having to destroy yourself. I'm looking forward to seeing you get it. Let's go.